Hello and welcome to End of the Line. I'm Max, and I'm going to be your host today. Today we're going to be talking about the Ravenglass and Eskdale Railway. This railway has a very interesting history, starting as a 3-foot gauge line in between a standard gauge and narrow gauge line in 1875. It was built to haul iron ore from the mines near the village of Brute in Cumbria to the standard gauge for Ness Railway. But in 1876, the railway requested to pull passenger trains. But with the upgrades needed to run the passenger service, the railway was put into severe debt, which meant in 1877 the railway declared itself bankrupt. But it still ran. But that was not enough to save the fledgling company, as in 1913 the company closed, but fortunately in 1915 a model maker by the name of, I'm probably going to butcher this, sorry, Wenman Joseph Bassick Loke and his associate Robert Proctor Mitchell decided to re-gauge the line to a 15-inch railway, also known as minimum gauge, from Ravenglass to Dargolth for Booth, and it remains that way to this day. In August of that year, the first train ran on 15-inch gauge track to Muncaster Mill. Station. At the start, the engines that ran on the railway were one quarter of regular engines, and that's to scale, with a 442 Atlantic wheel arrangement. Unfortunately, there was no pictures of them. The rolling stock and two engines came from the Duffield Bank Railway. After the death of the Duffield Bank's owner, Sir Arthur Hayward, in 1916, two engines were brought to the railway from the Duffield Bank. A 060 tank engine, Ella, and an 080 tank engine, Murrell, which later became the railway's oldest engine, River Ert. The railway was not just a passenger line, as also in 1922 it started carrying granite from the newly built quarry. From the newly built quarry at Beckford. By the 1920s, the railway was taken over by a new owner, Sir Aubrey Brocklebank, the owner of the quarry serviced by the line. During this time, a lot of track was relaid, and the station at Ravenglass was built to handle increasing passenger demand. In 1923, a new surviving engine was purchased, River Esk. Is it me, or am I noticing a pattern with the names? River Ert, River Esk? Well, back to the history. Not much happened until the Second World War, which meant large change as the passengers services stopped, although the granite trains continued. In 1946, passenger trains resumed. 3 years later, the railway, in 1949, were sold again to the Keswick Granite Company. In the early 50s, the granite service stopped on the railway as the nearby mine closed. In 1958, selling the railway was once again considered, which would be its fourth new owner, but in 1960, the railway was closed and put up for auction. Fortunately, locals and railway enthusiasts felt sympathetic for the old line, so the RE&R Preservation Society was formed, with financial backing of a Member of Parliament at that time, Sir Wavell Wakefield. By the time the Preservation Society started work on the railway in 1961, it was in dire condition. With the two locos, River Esk and River Ert, the only ones remaining, the two engines were worn and in need of overhaul. But with the help of donors to buy a third locomotive, River Might, in 1967. In the same year, the Reverend Wilbur Awdry visited the line and wrote about a fictional version of the railway in his famous children's book series, the Railway series, which later became Thomas the Tank Engine. In small railway engines. By the 70s, the two original engines got overhauled, and passenger numbers soar. which meant another engine had to be built, Northern Rock. As you see on screen. Northern Rock was completed in 1976, the same year the railway turned 100 years old. In 2020 or 2021, the official website doesn't specify, a new engine, Will and Beck, sorry, I butchered that, became part of the fleet. Well, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Please take the time to subscribe. If you don't want to, that's okay. I put a lot of work into these videos, and also check out our new Discord server, where I'm open to talk with anyone about trains or other things. Well, thanks for watching End of the Line.